Hi, and welcome to our October at-home design with Eastern Floral. My name's Marisa, and I'm going to walk you through it today. Let's get started on a fun fall Gourd-Ous design. This is what we're going to make. Lots of great grouping techniques, color, all of that to start your fall off. This is the bucket of flowers that you'll be receiving. Lots of great choices, and I'll show you how to creative cut some of these to maximize what you have going on. This take-home design kit for the October class will be available the 13th through the 20th, and you can pick it up or we'll happily deliver it to you also. So let's get started. We're gonna start with a basic black cube, just a nice all-around container that you'll be able to reuse into all of the seasons if necessary. What I chose today was to start with, this is called a Fatsia Leaf, and it's gonna really help to cover our greens without a lot of extra insertions into the foam. So I cut it on a nice angle, and I'm just sort of gonna slide it in here. So as you can see, it's covering most of our foam here. So by the way, the foam that we're using is called a fresh flower foam. It comes dry and you soak it in water. You don't push it down, anything like that. You'll just soak it and let it do its own thing. And then you cut it to fit. For this design, I like to have the Oasis or fresh flower foam level with the container. For other designs, sometimes we'll go up or down, but for this one, how it is the grouping and very level to the container, that's why I chose that. So here is our foam here. I'm gonna try to do a little backwards. We're gonna start with our snapdragons, and they're gonna go back here in this corner. So with the grouping, we're keeping all of the florals together, like so, minus the Solidago. And that helps with color, it helps maximize the bang for the buck, all of that. And a lot of times it's tiered. So how you can see this is tiered like that, sort of like a stairway. So we're gonna cut our snapdragon here. And pardon me while I do it backwards, but we'll be okay here. All right. And they're just sort of gonna stagger down. And I'm really making sure that I push them into the foam, not just like this. I mean, we want a good inch plus. So turn it a little bit here. So there you go. You can see how they are staggered. Now we're gonna move on to our gourds, our cute little pumpkins. And how I have them here is, again, stacked and staggered just because I thought it was cool. I punctured a hole and just put a wooden stick in here. That way they'll stay. I'm putting this one quite close to the edge because I really want it to almost look like it was sort of falling over. Same with this, and I just stacked it. The nice thing about the wooden picks is once they get in that foam and they soak up the water, they're gonna swell, so they're not really gonna move around much. So we have our Fatsia Leaf, our snapdragons, and our pumpkins all in. Next, we are going to get to our lilies. Now lilies are beautiful. These ones are not fragrant. They're called an Asiatic lily, but they can be really fragile. So how we're going to creatively cut this for maximum use is I'm gonna use nippers to show you here. We're gonna cut really close, let it drop, and I'm gonna do that to both of my big blooms. Because now instead of one insertion, I have 3, maybe 4. I'm gonna turn this towards me a minute here. So the other thing about lilies, like I said, they're very fragile. So you want to be careful when you're putting them in. So I'm going down, like I said, as far as I can, but you just need to be very gentle. And I'm putting 2 of them really close together again for that whole grouping idea, like so. I still have left all these beautiful buds, and we're gonna use them because we paid for them, right? So this we're gonna use as some really nice height, sort of in the middle for a void here, fill a void. There we go. just like so. And now I still have this cool bud. So I'm going to add it right into my groupings so it looks fuller and yellow, and we're still keeping with that whole grouping mentality. So here's my lilies, here's my snaps, my cool pumpkins. All right, next we are going to go on to our carnations. These are red, but you will get the beautiful burgundy in your thing. I just didn't have them right today. So the nice thing about this design is how it's with the groupings, but it's also very pave style. So it'll be very close to the foam, make lines, all of that. So these, as you can tell in our sample, are very low, and it's all about color. So we're gonna come down in between our pumpkin and our lily, and we're gonna push that all the way down to the foam, just to get that color. Again, I'm cutting very short, my stem, but long enough to go into the foam. And you're sort of gonna come behind. It's sort of crazy. Let me show you here. You're sort of sneaking it in, but it's again to push down and get that color right down in there. So see now from the front, how you can see that? That created depth coming to the back. And my last one, I'm putting in the very back here. Part of this is to cover up mechanics, also to finish our line and to finish that depth, because now you can see this, the color is running all the way to the back and it looks stable. It doesn't look top heavy. All right, so let's see here. We have our Solidago. This again is another creative cut. So when you look at it here, some people think this is like ragweed or something like that. It's in the same family, but it's not gonna make you sneeze uncontrollably unless you have really bad allergies. So I'm going to cut, and I'm gonna, again, sort of go in between there and cut. And I'm just gonna leave this one for now and we'll see what we do. So now the Solidago is helping finish out our yellow line and giving it, again, more bang for the buck. So, pardon as I turn it, that nice top tip, I'm gonna put towards this back corner because it's nice and full, and see how it's finishing that line. You can definitely make them smaller so that we can fill in a little bit. So I'm still following my yellow line, but I'm filling in a hole. I think I'm gonna rip those off too. It all depends, you know, they all come a little bit different, the stems, so you could maybe even get 5 or 6 cuts out of a really big one. It just depends. Now, one thing I did not explain is the nice thing about having this leaf is it's covering our foam, but it's so easy to just poke through. So all of my insertions are poking straight through that Fatsia leaf. It's not hurting it, and it's making it really economical. All right, so let me just go ahead and finish this here. I'm moving my lily leaf to get in there, you'll see, to get some depth, but you have to be very careful because when you touch these lily leaves, or petals, I'm sorry, they can definitely bruise and make lines. Still beautiful, but you wanna keep it as beautiful as you can. So these are my last 2, and I'm just gonna come out the side. So see, if we had more cuts, we could maybe put some in the middle or something, but this is finishing our yellow line. It's a nice dramatic angle, keeping with our grouping theme. So the last finishing touch here is our beautiful millet grass. It's just the coolest thing ever. I love it. So we are going to, again, cut. Now see how it's coming out from our pumpkins here, and it's gonna finish another line. So you just sort of gotta get under your pumpkin, get it in there. There we go. And sort of how we staggered the snapdragons is sort of how you're gonna be staggering these also. Let me just make sure I have my right angle here. That was a little big, so I just trimmed her up a little. And that's okay. Let's see here, I think don't necessarily want it to look like all on one flat plane, how they're staggered like that. So there we go. That is your October at-home box. This is what you'll be making. I hope you like it.